Welcome, this is Mirja Vahala. Here I'm going to show you how I painted this image of a creek. This is a creek that I saw as I was driving on the way to hike in the Valhallas in the beautiful West Kootenays in British Columbia, Canada. At the end of this time-lapse film, I will have a slideshow if you want to have more descriptions of how and why I painted the way that I did. But as a beginning, I started with a blue ground on this particular painting, and once that was dry, I did a chalk drawing, and from there I continued to add my various paints using a palette knife. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos. This painting took about 20 hours to paint. I was excited to paint this because I love the repeating shapes of the rocks and the way the cool morning light played on into the shadows and the highlights of this image. I also got down low to take the photo so that I could be on the level of the creek, which gives us a feeling of being right in the water. The background mid-tone color of blue plus the added darks of the shadows, then adding the little bits of light, give me a value key to judge all my other values against. And by values I mean the various shades. After that, I also am looking at how intense or bright I want colors to be, so you can see that I added the bright yellow area at the top back. This will help me to key in how bright or dull that I want the other colors to be. Besides shades and intensity, I'm also looking at how warm or cool the colors are that I'm placing. This is going to be an overall cool painting, but I also want to place some accents of warm. So the warm accents are placed with tints of red oxide that are glazed with a little bit of blue just to make them a little duller, and also the warm yellows that you see in the background. There's a bit of orangey color too that will show through. Some of this will get covered up so that we maintain that dominance of cool. If you look at this stage of the painting, you see the tints of blues and pinks and yellows. They look a little bit chalky, and that is because they're just straight opaque color. It's not until we put those beautiful glazes of other color on top that make them look really rich. This type of painting takes a little bit of faith, and you have to think a few steps ahead to know where you're going with the various colors. It's a lot of fun, but it's also quite challenging to decide which color you put underneath. Each color that you use, whether it's a warm blue or a cool yellow or warm yellow, makes a really big difference on how each color looks. So in my sketchbook I have hundreds of color swatches where I've played around a little bit with what color looks good on top of another color, or whether I want it dull or bright. So lots of experimenting goes on to create this type of color. The great thing about acrylics is they're very easy to correct. If you have an area that you don't like, you just can take titanium white, cover up the area, and start over again. And here we are, we have the finished painting. The slideshow is next. The first thing I did was take ultramarine blue and a lot of GAC 500 medium and spread it thinly on the canvas. Once that was dry, which I use a blow dryer, I then added third lines so that it would make it easier for me to copy from the photo that I took. The photo also had the third lines on there. So I put the main shapes on that I could see. And the first step I took was to put a thin layer of ultramarine blue everywhere where I saw the darker shadows. Not going as black as I would want to in the end, but just dark enough to see where the shadows will go. From there I added a chromium oxide green that was tinted with titanium white, and then the yellow oxide was next. That was also tinted with white. And here I've got magenta, also tinted. And I've made the darks darker with a other blue layer on top of the dark rocks. I've continued on with some more dark areas where I've actually taken a really warm Indian yellow and added it to where you see the dark greens. That was laid over the ultramarine blue areas. I've added some brighter yellow tints into the background where the light is shining through, some tints of red oxide and some more tints of blue, as well as chromium oxide green. So basically, wherever I want to have lighter shades, I do tints of a color, knowing that on top I'm going to be doing glazes of other colors. Here is the finished painting that is overall in blue and green and violet. There are some highlights of yellow. I think that the painting balances fairly well. It's overall cool, and I would call this a pattern design, which is created by the repeating rocks. There's also a little bit of an S shape going through where the water flows. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.